Okay.
Hello.
Sorry. We're looking at evidence for humans living with dinosaurs. I'm chatting with Sea Science Film Labs, and he's basically he can tell you what we're talking about exactly. We're looking at something on his channel at the moment, Sea Science Film Labs. I've got to put a link to his channel in the description later. But anybody can join at any time that they want. So you take it away, Sea Science.
Yeah, if anyone wants to come on in, join in with us. We'll chat together. This is a clip from the Mysterious Origins of Man series by Charleston Heston. This section of the first episode actually covers these dinosaur footprints. They're found in Glen Rose, Texas. I believe Don Patton was the main man involved with this investigation, with this discovery, and we're going to hear from him in this clip. So once we get this started, we'll get it rolling, and we'll get right into it. What do you think, Jason?
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll start it now. I'll just...
Right. And I do have a couple more clips of the show we could watch tonight too, if we run out of time.
Okay. How long does this clip run for?
Just 7 minutes.
I mean, do you want me to run it for in the beginning?
Yeah, just let it play through, man. The whole clip is that session with Don Patton. It's actually got a lot of information.
I'll wait till you start talking about something. When you decide to start talking about something, then I'll get my dog out while you're talking about whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever just pause it if you want to say something.
Tracks on this riverbank 100 million years.
Okay, all right. I'm starting it now. Right now.
Years ago, did humans walk here at the same time? Next, a man who claims these prints are proof that humans live. Ever since dinosaurs were first discovered in the 18th century, they've fascinated people of all ages. The Tyrannosaurus rex stood over 30 feet in height. He's considered the most ferocious predator ever to walk the earth. A brontosaurus grew to the length of 3 city buses. He weighed more than 90 tons. The reign of the dinosaur ended, according to one theory, when a giant meteor crashed into the earth with the force of thousands of hydrogen bombs. A cloud of dust was raised, which blocked the sun for years. This marked the end of the dinosaurs. According to conventional scientific theory, no human beings were alive then to witness these events. Or were they? Over 100 million years ago, the limestone bedrock of the Biloxi River in Texas was a muddy plain. It was here that countless dinosaurs left their footprints to be fossilized and preserved forever. But the tracks of another creature have also been preserved in these banks, possibly the tracks of man. Archaeologist Carl Bau has led the investigation of these controversial prints for over 12 years.
My reaction was one of shock. I had heard of human footprints being found in this locale on the Biloxi near Glen Rose, Texas, but I was rather skeptical. And here, after removing actual rock layers, the team and I excavated a series of dinosaur footprints. And 18.5 inches from one of those dinosaur footprints, we excavated a 16-inch human footprint. We excavated 12 footprints in a series. And when you find a trail with left, right pace and stride, the right distance apart, then you have to interpret this as belonging to humankind.
It's been claimed that the Biloxi River footprints are a hoax carved into the limestone bedrock as a tourist attraction.
Well, we found trails leading under limestone ledges and actually removed the limestone ledges one slab of rock at a time. And we found that both the dinosaur footprints and the trail of human footprints continued under the rock ledges. This evidence is real.
Today, many of these so-called human prints have fallen victim to erosion and the hands of vandals. But Carl Bau is in possession of one of the most compelling prints ever found. What you were about to see is the most controversial artifact in his collection.
I first saw the Burdick print on my initial visit to Glen Rose in 1984. My impression at that time was that it was too perfect, but it's clearly a human footprint demonstrating the heel section, the arch, the base of the metatarsals, the first or great toe, second, third, fourth, and fifth toe.
After our examination of this print, we find that it definitely is in the Cretaceous limestone, in the same
There's your man
formation
right
with
there.
the dinosaur footprints. Here we're looking at a cross section, and we can see very obvious.
Yeah, that's the displaced material underneath with the toes, proving that the toes were laid down at exactly the same time as the ball of the foot. Because when they showed that the ball of the foot was laid down at exactly the same time as the dinosaurs, they said it was it must be a dinosaur track with human toes carved onto it. And then they sectioned, basically they'd already sectioned across the toes, and that underneath the big toe there, that displaced material, and underneath the other toes there, that displaced material that you can see, proves that the toes were laid down as well at exactly the same time as the ball of the foot was laid down. So it proved that it was not a dinosaur track with toes carved onto it later on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good.
And you have Don Patton there. You have Don Patton there, your guy, and you probably maybe want to put the document in the chat too for them.
Yeah.
That Don Patton document, they'll probably enjoy that and go with us pretty well. So, but what do you think so far? We're halfway
it's
through.
good.
So.
It's great. Yeah, he's just about to talk about that displaced material now that I mentioned before. All right,
absolutely. And you saw? Did you see the black and white photo of that foot by foot pathway with the foot space apart? That was humanoid, or was human footprints.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet. It wasn't earlier on, but
yeah. I saw some problems there that evolutionists would see with it, but yeah. Anyway. I can pretty much see what they'd see straight away. But all that displaced material underneath the toes there proves that those toes were laid down at exactly the same time as the ball of the foot was. So that means that it was a human footprint. It's just a human footprint that was running through mud, basically. But it's interesting to see this. I'll see this, what he says later on here about that, when the test that they did with the kids running through the wet cement and that.
Sure.
Following contours under the great toe, and actually structures under each one. Where we see the calcite inclusion, the force was concentrated and produced these load-bearing structures, which are exactly what geologists look for. We have eliminated the idea that it's carved. It definitely is original impression in the sediment.
This is said to be the fossilized finger of a human being. It too was reportedly found in the same strata as the dinosaur tracks.
Oh yeah, this thing this guy does something like, I can't remember how long. It's a really long talk. I think it's like 2 or 6 hours or something talk on just this finger, and they sectioned across this finger, and of course inside the section, right where the bone is supposed to be, they found what looks like a bone. And this other guy, he took scans of the finger, and they found he traced the tendons running with the scans running up through the finger. So this is literally a fossilized human finger, and it's found in very old rock.
Which contradicts the evolution narrative, because a lot of times they'll be claiming that they never find human remains, as fossils in these layers that are supposedly this old as dinosaurs, or older even. I mean, they have some evidence in this series where they have human evidence going back supposedly hundreds of millions of years, or just being in these layers that have been dated to that. Like, I really don't believe they're as old as they're claimed to be. So,
yeah,
as you well know.
Oh yeah. There's no.
They do show the scan though that you mentioned too in this, which is really cool. So, I mean, it could have been a rock that someone carved, and that was the thing with the other, with the footprints, the human footprints with the dinosaur footprints at the river there. it's like, first of all, it amazes me that there's dinosaur footprints in the first place. After supposedly 65 million years of erosion, we're just able to pull a few rocks away and find them now next to a river. You think that would have wiped them out a long time ago, but that's just my opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
The second thing is they were like questioning, they found these prints in the same layer as these dinosaur footprints. So they're like, what if they were carved? And that's what you were going on about, was that compression underneath the toes there. It kind of shows that it was actually made into that layer of sediment, and it couldn't have been a carving because there was displacement underneath the toes themselves in that cross section, which is really compelling evidence. I mean, it's a 16-inch foot though. That's a big foot. That's a big guy. I mean, and you have all these big footprints, all over the world and stuff. You got a lot of big footprints. It's like, I don't know, maybe we mankind had that much of a range, I guess, as far as variation for sizes of feet. I don't know. Who knows? But it's really interesting what they found in Glen Rose there next to the river, And like I said, and we mentioned before, the other explanation that we've heard that's been really funny for these footprints is that there was a dinosaur with human feet. So
yeah, sorry. I was just
right.
I'm just going through and trying to add. Hang on, I was going to add this.
The join link.
There.
Sure.
There. I've already got it up there. Okay. I didn't realize. All right, I don't need to. Hang on, I just need to pin this.
All right.
Pin message. There we go. There. That's it. That's all I needed to do. All right. Okay. So let's continue watching.
To over 100 million years old.
It had what appeared to be a nail, what appeared to be a cuticle, a taper, a humanoid shape. After I saw the CAT scan, there was no longer any room in my mind for doubt. This scan shows the shape of the finger. It shows tissue beneath the skin of the finger. It shows the bone. It shows the joints. It shows a ligament. That tells me this is a human finger.
The limestone layer that preserved these artifacts is reportedly dated at around 135 million years old. Yet, as we saw earlier, objects have been found in rock strata much older than this. In Klerksdorp, South Africa, hundreds of metallic spheres were found by miners in Precambrian strata, said to be a fantastic 2.8 billion years old. The controversy centers around the fine grooves encircling some of the spheres. Lab technicians were at a loss to explain how they could have been formed by any known natural process. According to the curator of the Klerksdorp Museum, Rolf Mars, these spheres are...
If they're a pure form of iron, then it's impossible. It's just impossible. It couldn't form like in those, and they said thousands of spheres like this. I'd say impossible.
They are interesting artifacts, that's for sure.
If it's purified, I suppose he's about to say what the purity of the steel is. I'm interested to see that. Yeah, really interested. Here we go.
Complete mystery. They look man-made, yet at the time in Earth's history when they came to rest on this rock, no intelligent life existed. They're like nothing I've ever seen before. Author-researcher David Hatcher Childress has written numerous articles on the coexistence of humans and dinosaurs.
I think that the paradox of dinosaurs and people together,
steel, and if they tested it or whatever, I'm sure they would have. He left a lot of stuff out in those other artifacts as well, but at least he got in about the ligaments and stuff and the bone in that thing. I mean, I've got pictures of the section part showing the bone in the finger, and it looks pretty good. and then like that guy's got the CAT scan, I think he said, of that finger, which is pretty good. But those metal spheres, I'm sure there'd be more information there that he's left out, because they surely would have tested the purity of the steel or whatever, because I mean, if it was naturally formed, it'd be full of lots of grit and impurities and stuff that wouldn't be there if it was, you know, made with an intelligence or whatever. I mean, it still might be there, depends on what sort of technology they had too. But I mean, just because you find impurities in it doesn't mean, but it can help, you know, point towards it. So it's just a shame that I'd have to look that up. What did he say the name of it was again? Do you remember?
I do not remember, but they are interesting artifacts, like I said. Nonetheless, I'd like to handle them and actually get a better look at them. I mean, it seems like there's pockets underneath them, like even holes, like divots in them, and then you see that there's like an equator sort of line going around them.
Yeah.
All of them, it looks like there's a middle line, so it's almost like they're fashioned. Whether it's a natural process or a artificial process that created them.
He'll say, he says about here, just about here, there. Yeah. Let's see.
The name.
Yeah.
Preserved these artifacts is reportedly dated at around 135 million years old. Yet, as we saw earlier, objects have been found in rock strata much older than this. In Klerksdorp, South Africa, hundreds of metallic spheres.
Klerksdorp, South Africa.
You'd have to look up the location probably to find the artifacts.
I'll look it up now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, let it play on though. See what goes on. I mean, I guess I could talk a little bit about the series. The Mysterious Origins of Man. Here's Charlton Heston. You know, he directed it. Or he was the narrator of. I'm sorry, he didn't direct it. It was put together by CBS or NBC.
Klerksdorp. I think that's what he meant.
What is it?
Klerksdorp, South Africa. So it's hang on, I'm just gonna paste it here.
Yeah, right. I mean, the premise of the show was interesting because, you know, they had the idea that mankind was much, much older than what we're told in the human evolution narrative. So they actually go into questioning human evolution and their narrative as far as the history of mankind quite a bit. So it was interesting. But what's really interesting is that there's same evidence that humans lived a long time ago with the dinosaurs, and even before the dinosaurs, this evidence of human activity they use to prove that humans have been here for like millions of years is the same kind of evidence that young Earth creationists use to prove that humans and dinosaurs coexisted, and that the world isn't as old as it's claimed to be, because they're finding out of place artifacts is what they're called. And that's what those metal spheres are, these out-of-place artifacts. Basically, anytime things are found that fall outside the common scientific consensus narrative as far as the archaeological digs go, you will find these out-of-place artifacts that just don't belong. And they could even be human remains, or even just flutes or bone flutes, you know, and they just don't belong, or they're found. So so it was interesting to find that they use this idea of evidence for humankind being millions, even billions of years old on this planet.
Here we got here,
which is quickly the same evidence you can use in young Earth creation. So
we've got here about the Klerp. It's Klerksdorp. Klerksdorp, I think it's pronounced, spheres, or Klerksdorp spheres, originated. They say their explanation is they were originated as concretions, which formed in volcanic sediments, ash, or both, after the accumulated 3 billion years ago. Okay, so here we go. So I'll just be interested to see what they're made out of. And then we got the National Center for Science here.
So they're claiming that they're concretions, which is what I covered on my channel probably a week ago on my live stream.
Hang on. Cut face. Hang on, they've cut one of these things in that cut face of the Oswald concretion, showing typical radial fibrous internal structure of these objects, like some of the Otto-style concretions. This specimen consists of 2 intergrown concretions. This specimen is 6.2 centimeters, which is 62 millimeters wide. All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, concretions, they're a phenomenon. You know, they're a geological phenomenon. These concretions.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not usually pure metal. Is my
thing. I know, but I'm just interested to see what they say here. The Otter-style objects are spherical objects that were found in 3 to 3.1 billion year old Precambrian porphyroid deposits in South Africa. In 1992, the objects have been the subject of much attention and speculation by various fringe groups, including Christian and Hindu creationists and advocates of astro. These fringe group, blah blah blah. They go on about that, but I just want to see what they were made out of. Outer space artifacts, blah blah blah, which are supposedly direct evidence of existence of billions. Hang on. The biblical, come on, get to the oldest article advocates the blah blah.
They probably don't have any tests.
Version.
You know, it's probably one of those things.
I'm just interested to see if they actually do or not.
They should. They got to somewhere.
About.
If they don't have one there, they have an article on it online. We can find.
What are you on Wikipedia? That they cross-sectioned one, but we need to know the concentration of iron and like impurities in the iron.
Well, yeah, and I mean, they're claiming that it's a.
And they claimed that it formed in ash. They claimed it formed in ash. So if it formed in ash, then it's going to have a lot of impurities in it, right? A lot. So
but that's the thing. Like, how would steel or even iron form in ash?
I mean, but there was a lot of ash around. They were basically saying when the molten steel was there. So if that was the case, then the ash there'd be a lot of impurities in it. A lot. Yeah. Here we've got something here. It says.
From what I understand, like these concretions, and that's what I was going to say, like when we were first looking at them there, is that they look like concretions, which I covered on my channel probably about a week ago in the live chat. And like concretions, they're like a geological phenomenon. You know, concretions, and they're not really sure how they were made, or at least they weren't until recently. They figured out how different ones are made, because there's actually different kinds of concretions, and there's different reasons for spheres, you know. Natural forming spheres. So that's what I mean. Like these things, but if they're pure iron, that's the other thing. Like you got to know what they're composed of. You can't just say, "Hey, they look like a concretion. There's spheres in the dirt." Obviously,
they don't really say. There's just there's a thing here, a write up on it. Just let me have a look.
But that one section there that said that they were fibrous when they did a cross section of it, that fibrous part makes me think of the Miramars or whatever, Marimo. There's these like fibrous algae balls that get preserved and turn into concretions.
No, I saw the cross section of it. It looks like a piece of steel. It just looks like a steel ball that's been cut in half to me.
That's not
what it looks like to me. But it's
now
like,
concretions are when like calcium seeps out into a rock from a source. It's not when iron becomes a ball of iron. Concretion is made of concrete and little rocks and sediment that's been stuck together, not iron that's somehow become a sphere. So that's interesting. And then they are calling them concretions. So
yeah.
What's it called when metal forms up? Probably in a smelting process. There's when it kind of
they've got
comes
pictures
together.
of these things. There's a lot of them, but they're
How big
basically,
does it give dimensions? How big they get and how small
yeah,
they
it
get?
does. It
Okay.
does. I'll send you the article
All
in
right.
the thing. Hang on, I'll just send it quickly now. Right here. There.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, play on. We'll see what it says next. Because I think that's about
Yep.
it.
Those spheres that they show is probably not a good representation. They might have got a few like that, but they say there was thousands like that. But I don't think that if you look them up, that there probably wasn't that looked exactly like that. But there's not much really. There probably is a lot of stuff out there on it. Just we haven't had time to look. That's all.
Were found by miners in Precambrian strata.
Okay, so
fantastic.
Basically, I can go back out of this because we've already been through that up to about there. I think we're up to about there.
I think that one of the solutions to the paradox of dinosaurs and people together and the vast discrepancy in time, the whole timeline of millions of years versus only thousands of years, can be explained in a cataclysmically geological.
Yep.
So they're saying those were found in the Precambrian layers, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, they are talking multi-billion years ago. So 1.8 or something. The Precambrian. What's Precambrian? No, that's more than 500, right? 500 million plus.
Yeah, that's like 2-3 billion years. That's up to 3 billion years ago.
I think it goes from like 500 million to like 3 billion years ago or something.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, 3 billion.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Hang on, I'm just gonna.
But yeah, you can let it play on. I'm gonna look this up on you. Period. Yeah, so 4.5 billion years. Okay, so began Earth 4 billion to about. Okay, so this is saying 4 billion years ago to about 541 million years ago was the Precambrian. So it's like everything before life. But before that, there was just a bunch of seafloor animals, right? So, am I coming through?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yep. Yeah, you're coming through clear.
I'm just looking at the Cambrian.
You're coming through clear.
Good. All right, play on. So that's the Cambrian. And that's way before any supposed
view
primates
of the
or anything. So,
past,
way before any primates.
Rather than geological events taking place over millions
I'm just saying
years,
it's way
they take place more
before
quickly.
any
And what
primates.
is a million years
we
on a
should go
geological?
back and see this guy, because now that I'm looking at him, what's interesting is he looks like one of the dudes from Ancient Aliens, and I know it is, but they have his credentials here in the beginning. And he's just really young in this compared to what he is now in the Ancient Aliens show.
Researcher David Hatcher Childress has written numerous articles on the coexistence of humans and Childress has written numerous articles on the coexistence. Author researcher David Hatcher Childress has written
Dead air. You still there? Did I fall out? Hello. Testing.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right.
David Hatcher Childress. David Hatcher Childress is a French-born American author, an author of Adventures Unlimited Press and Publishing House, established in 1984, specializing in books in unusual topics such as ancient mysteries, unexplained phenomena, pseudo history they call it, and historical revisionism. His own works primarily concentrate on pseudo archaeological and pseudoscientific topics.
That's a lot of pseudo going on.
Yeah,
Pseudo.
bloody stuff you, Wiki.
My
Stuff you
goodness.
get bent, you bastards.
They're
Anyway,
like, don't listen to this guy. He is crazy pseudo.
None of it's not as pseudo as you think it is, guys.
I'm changed my name to
Some of it
pseudoscience to film that. No, I'm no. Anyway. This is going in a good direction. Like
Technology,
I got a couple more clips too. So
cryptozoology, like I like that the name Creationist Crybaby. That's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah, I wish I had thought of it. Anyway. Now,
big old baby.
Yeah.
Big bad mom.
Yeah.
Is he in the chat?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's in the chat. I don't think so. Oops. I don't know. I don't even know how to get back to the. Once I leave the.
I can't even see the chat. Let's see.
Once I leave the chat on StreamYards, I have to go into the. Actually, I have to go into the. It's really annoying. Once I go into the private chat, I can't go back to the StreamYards. Oh, hang on. Here it is. Comments. A minute. Oh, bubblegum.
Yeah, Gum's in the chat.
Yeah.
See him.
Bubblegum, if you want to talk about anything you want, you can talk about basically anything you want. We don't have to talk about this. We can put up anything you want, really. If you want to talk about it after, but I mean, we're going to finish this pretty quickly because this goes pretty quick. I mean, there might be other things. There's other things that you said you wanted to look at too. So
I'm going to put a clip in the chat right now. You play this, finish this out. There'll be one there waiting.
Yeah, if you put it in the chat, I might be able to. Oh no, actually, what I'll do is I'll log into YouTube. I'll log into YouTube up here, and then I can go into the chat, and I can just get it easily. So
I'll just throw it in an email to you.
No, it's all right. I got to log into YouTube anyway. No, I'll just go into YouTube, and then I can just click on it, and it'll come straight up in the thing, and then everybody can get it, and I can get it, and it saves you having to do that as well. So you only have to do it once, and it's a lot easier. Yep.
Well, play on while we're gone. We'll have something.
I can click on your one. I click on your one, and I'll basically just run your one. Hang on. As soon as it starts, I've got to wait for it to start so I can stop the. That's weird. Okay. There. Okay. All right. Chat. I can't join your chat. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Oh, I don't need that one. That's a different one, right? So if you put up which one you want, you put up whatever one you want, and I can just tap on the link.
All right. Yeah, I put two more from the series into the chat, and I think they're shorter than this one actually, so they're even shorter clips. So, but why don't we play this one out and see how it ends first? Because I think there's some more about
okay.
maps. And this cat right here.
Oh, there it is. I was just looking for something. Okay, hang on a second. All right, I'll just get back again there.
Did you see it in the private chat for the studio? The 2 videos.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. I don't want to do that. I'm in the wrong one. Wait a minute. Yes, that's. I'm in the. Hang on.
All right.
I'm in the wrong. There are. Oh, come on. It won't. Yeah, I can see evidence for humans and that, but I can't see you posted anything else in the chat.
Really?
Yet.
I see your.
So
Do you see
chat.
your?
Actually, it must be in my one. Oh, I have to go back to my one. All right. Okay, I'll go to my one. Hang on.
All right.
That would be. Oh, my screen's gone. Uh-oh. Okay, I see what's happened. That's, hang on.
But I mean, it's an interesting concept that's presented here in the Mysterious Origins of Man series. You have an idea that, well, you know, human evolution
We'll
is
just
absolutely
play it.
wrong.
We'll just play it and
well,
I'll
I mean, let me just. All right, yeah,
okay,
play it on.
After you talk, I mean, I'll play it after you finish talking. Sorry, and then I'll sort what I got to sort out. Then, yeah.
I was just trying to kill some airtime here before you play it. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right.
This guy explains about it.
Numerous articles on the coexistence of humans and dinosaurs.
I think that one of the solutions to the paradox of dinosaurs and people together, and the vast discrepancy in time, the whole timeline of millions of years versus only thousands of years, can be explained in a cataclysmically geological view of the past, where rather than geological events taking place over millions of years, they take place more quickly. And what is 1,000,000 years on a geological time scale is in fact only, say, 1,000 years. And therefore, it's going to bring all this dating much closer to us and make it possible so that in a scientific way, man and dinosaurs can have existed together in the past. And in fact, dinosaurs can still be alive today in small numbers in remote areas of the world. For instance, in 1977, a Japanese fishing boat off New Zealand brought up out of the water the carcass of what appeared to be
this has been debunked. I can tell you what this is actually, and I've looked into this, and they're right. That is the rotting carcass of a
baleen whale
again, a basking shark.
Yeah,
and basking sharks can get up to 12 meters.
That was the critic's claim since the beginning. He actually mentions that in this.
Yeah, I know. I understand that, but I looked into it, and I looked at the bones in a basking shark. I went and looked at the anatomy of a basking shark, and I looked right into it, and I believe that it is this is a basking shark, but I mean I just believe it's a rotten carcass.
Sure. I mean they threw it back, so they have no evidence, so it's really neither matters neither way. Myself, I believe it's probably the basking shark, obviously, is more likely. But I mean, we don't know because, like I said, we don't have it. But since the beginning, since they found it, the critics were claiming for this that it was a basking shark. You know what I mean? Or what was the other one? There was like 2 different animals that they first claimed, but he actually mentioned it in this video. So like he was well aware of the claim of it being a basking shark.
Yeah.
You know?
But the front of the thing on there is exactly the same structure that's inside of a basking shark's head. So like that thing you see in the middle there hanging out is the same structure that if you look at like the anatomy of a basking shark and get right into it, then you can find all those structures. So it's basically, I believe that this is they just got this wrong. That's all. Sure. I believe that he might be right. I mean, like, I don't know, but I don't think so.
I agree. And you know, there's something to be said that also, you know, evolutionists, they don't even believe, or evolution theory proponents, they don't even consider plesiosaurs to be dinosaurs anymore. You know, they think there's some other kind, just because of their classification system. Yeah. And that was like my favorite dinosaur too. And then they went and took it from me. So now just like some lizard.
Yeah. No, I know they've got stories of people seeing things with necks rise up out of the water, like 12 feet out of the water, 8 and 12 feet out of the water, with a great big head on top of the neck. I mean, unless that is one giant, it'd have to be for an eel to raise 10 or 12 feet up out of the water and not sort of topple over. It would have to be like,
there'd be a lot of eel underneath. That'd have to be
massive amount. So if that's an eel, then that's an eel that could kill Jaws, that could eat Jaws without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like Jaws, you just get that eel comes along. Oh, don't worry, I can take care of Jaws for you. One bite, bang, Jaws will be finished. That's how big that eel would have to be. If it was
on a side note, did you see that they found a sea monster skull? I'll send a picture to you in the email. But it's pretty amazing. It's like 6 feet long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one that I think they found that on a beach. I tried to look at both.
Yep, they pulled it right out of a wall next to a coast.
I can't remember. I mean, I looked right into a lot of these things, but there's ones where like people have literally seen stories of, like, you know, I'd like to see the eel that's got a head on it the size of a horse head. And it's raising its neck 8 to 12 feet out of the water. And on top of that head, on top of that neck, it's got a head the size and shape of similar to a horse head. You know what I mean? Like, that's one very big seahorse, if it's a seahorse. You know what I mean? It's like, that is a big creature, you know, like with the head the size of a horse and all that. I mean, you don't know how many, they didn't say how many teeth were behind that head or inside of that head, or how big the mouth was, or how much it opened up, and how many teeth were on it, and what sort of razor sharp teeth were in it. So, yeah, you wouldn't want to be getting too close to it, I'd imagine. I mean, there was another one where a head of something rose up about, 6 or 8 feet off the water or something, and they shot it with one of those giant big 75 cal, 80 cal, 100 cal muskets or whatever it was, those giant big things with a big lead ball. And they shot it and it went back down, and then it came back up again, and they got out of there, or something happened, or then they shot it again and it went back down and never came up again, or something. I don't know. There's some report like that. Ken Hovind read it out once. It's some old report from some, when they went to go to an island and they were in one of the boats going from ship to shore, that something come up, then they shot it. They were transporting, themselves or whatever between the ship and the shore, sort of thing. And on the way there, that this thing come up out of the water, and they had to shoot it like twice to get it to, basically before they said it finally went under the water and it didn't come back up again. So I'd hate to imagine what would have happened if they never, if they never had the muskets with them, the guns.
Sure. There are some fantastic eyewitness accounts of what should have, or what are claimed to be plesiosaur. That's for sure. And I mean, it's an interesting thing. There's a lot of lakes up north in Canada and above Quebec and stuff. I mean, the whole area is just littered with lakes, And the Native American Indians, they had stories about what they called the underwater panther. I don't know if you ever heard about the underwater panther, but it was like this big lake creature, and they said it would take people or eat people. I don't know, but it's kind of some interesting stuff.
No, I've heard about the what is it, the Lake Champlain monster,
Sure.
and things
Sure.
like that. But like
The
I think
Okeechobee.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of lakes in Canada though. I mean, it's like there's this area, it's just littered. And there's no roads going through it because it's just lakes. I mean, if you got lost in there, you would really be lost because you wouldn't know which lake you were at. And I don't know. The terrain is just completely different. So I mean, anything could be out there. It's completely uninhabited for the most part, you know. And if there's one in Lake Champlain, that would be pretty interesting because there's a lot of people around it. And I mean, they say they've gotten shots of it and stuff, but who knows? You know, who knows? It could be. There's a lot of people that believe in Champ, you know, especially around Lake Champlain. So,
well, if you see something come up to your boat, it's like some people say they've seen it up really close and that they can't deny it. Like if they had seen it off in a distance, they could have said it was something this or that or whatever, and they could have written it off as a lot of things. But because some people saw it up really close, and they just said, yeah, well, after that was no
could be,
back.
man. You never
So
know.
they say.
I mean, if you got dinosaur footprints, like that's some of the best evidence right there. Like I was saying earlier, it's like, how can there still be dinosaur footprints with 65 plus million years of erosion? Like, can you really believe that those footprints survived 65 million years? You know, that's
you can't intrusionally bury a footprint. You know, so and you can't erode and then redeposit footprints somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, so
the ones that they've got are eroding now.
See what they can say if you find human bones or fossilized down in those layers is they can say, well, that was just transported, or there was a earthquake and a crack and then it fell down and then it filled back in and then it looks like this or that, but it's not really. But they can't say that with footprints. With footprints, that's it. They're done. They're roasted. Yeah. Like the footprint can't erode away and fall down a crack and then be redeposited, you know what I mean, down a crack and then fill back in, the crack fill back in again and then look like it's in that layer.
Because it is the sediment
there is
layer.
no way around the footprints, and they don't
so
like them.
Just the dinosaur footprints alone, man, and they're found all across the planet, especially in Australia. There's a lot of dino print places in Australia near the beach. So from what I understand, looking at dinosaur places. So I did a little research project on that a couple months ago. But yeah, let's see how this video finishes up and try one of the other ones, man. If you're into it, I could probably stay up another hour.
10 years.
Although the authenticity of this photograph has never been disproved, skeptics have claimed it's merely the body of a decomposing shark.
Yeah, that's the end of that. Yep, no, I mean, it's an interesting show. There's actually 6 episodes that are all about an hour long. I think that the first episode is a little bit longer than the rest. And I've watched a bit of the series. I have the whole thing. I've got to get the time to get around to watching it. But yeah, like I was saying, their premise is that the humankind, like their line goes back much further than the Australopithecine hypotheticals, if they believe in them or not. They believe that mankind their line just goes back in some never ending line, just some basal human, basically, which is basically what, the Bible teaches. But then you have this one doctor there saying, if you shorten all the time spans or some crazy crap, and then that brings everything together, and now all of a sudden dinosaurs are only like 1,000 years apart, and they could even live together. And it's like, I don't understand where he was going with that logic. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that we find evidence of humans or artificially created tools and objects in layers that are supposed to be Precambrian, like these claimed concretions. And like I said, concretions are not usually metal, as far as I know, because concretions are sediment that have been concreted together. by some like calcinating mineral that's able to compound these things into a rock, and that makes it even harder than the sediment around it. So then these spheres form, and they usually form in the layer, it looks like. I mean, the ones that I've seen, it's right on the layer. And then you have that line through the center of them. And that's actually the sediment layer line. So I don't know. I mean, can metal iron spheres grow in the ground? Is that a new kind of concretion? Maybe. Maybe they're natural, maybe they're artificial. I don't know. So but yeah, it just doesn't happen, as Cam points out. I mean, obviously they're not concretions if they're not made of concrete or sediment that's been cemented together. So I don't know. You can't have, I don't know. I'm not aware of iron concretions, but that's what they're claiming, right? In Wikipedia. So iron's evolving. Yes.
Yeah.
They're globbing up into globular spheres in the dirt, in the Precambrian layer for no reason. We've got these random, and if they pulled like a hammer out of there, they'd be like, well, this is obviously contaminated. Someone buried this in these layers, but these are just so weird because they're metal spheres. So they're like, and they're probably throughout whatever this deposit that they're in. They've been found in Africa, and so they're probably like, wow, this has to be some kind of natural thing that we just don't understand. So we're going to call them a concretion because that's what they look like. And we found them in the dirt, so that's concretions. And probably when they named them, concretions were still a bit of more of a mystery, where they've actually like discovered how concretions are made sometimes. Some of them, at least. I mean, concretions get big. There's some concretions that are 9 feet across or 3 meters across, but these aren't made of iron. I mean, some of them might have iron in them, but non-iron, not like iron ore, like an iron glob that when you cut open, you can see the iron. I don't know. It's a heck of a thing. But so where are we standing with this next clip there, Jason?
Hang on.
All right.
I'm just looking through. I'm trying to go to. Okay. Yeah.
Now we don't know if they're pure iron. Don't take me on word on that, because we were trying to find what they were composed of, but we couldn't really find a good article on testing the ore. And I mean, there was a cross section that said that when they took a cross section, it looked fibrous on the inside, and that tells me that it can't be like solid iron.
Hang on. I've just got to go get this dog out. He's barking at me.
Sure. I mean, they're interesting. They're interesting artifacts, nonetheless. I mean, even if they are fibrous on the inside, I mean, how fibrous are they? I got to see a shot of this cross section of one, but maybe someday. But again, like I'll say it again, it's interesting that I
can't see anything in the.
You don't see anything in the side chat?
No, I only see bubblegum. Last thing I see is who's in chat. Who's in chat?
I see iron growing.
And that's it. Who's in chat?
Last thing do you have a tab on up top that says chat and comments?
Yeah, but there's like.
Can you toggle between them? Because that's what I do. And then I see two different chats.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm in actual YouTube. I can't see anything here that you've posted.
Well, I'll put one in there.
Link, and then I can I can click on it there. Here.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
And that's better that way, because that way I can saves me having to go.
I will send you another email, buddy. How about that?
I can click on it now. I couldn't click on it before on the StreamYard's screen. All I can do is basically look. If I click on a comment, it'll just show up on the main screen. But if I go into Google, and here I can click on actual links and things. I'm in the anyway.
All right. Well, I'm sending you an email with two videos. They're coming your way, so give us something to talk about.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go get this dog out, but okay.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hang on, wait a minute.
wait here.
Not yet. I've got to find this video first.
All right.
Find it and just key it up. Start it up.
Yeah. Cue it in there.
Okay. Yeah. That's new. Okay. Got it.
Yep.
Is archaeological research presented honestly? Should human evolution be questioned? So that's which one do you want me to play?
Go with the first title. We'll just do
Okay.
the archaeological research presented honestly one.
Okay.
That's a really good one for content. You'll like that.
Easy.
Are you going to be able to hear it while you're out taking care of the dogs?
Yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah, I think so. Just
right.
Let me see if I can. Oh, it's on your channel as well. All right. Okay, so it's 8 minutes. All right. Okay. Let me go. Hang on, I'll go back. I've got to stop sharing the other one and back into StreamYards. And that's the one I want, the first one. Oh, Bubblegum's backstage. Sorry, Bubblegum. Sorry, Bubblegum. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were there. Just let me see.
No problem.
How do I? Oh, that's right. You just got to go here. And that's right. I'm just trying to work out how to share screen. Here we go. Oh, so I've got to get. Hang on. I've got to say don't show again. I'm sick of seeing that thing. All right, there we go. Now, archaeological general discussion. Okay, here we go. This one.
Hey, good Tuesday morning, Bubblegum.
Oh, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's not where I'm at. So it's like 12 p.m. over here.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll play this. You guys watch this, both of you. Sorry, Bubblegum, but you guys watch this, and then you guys can talk for a while with each other and find something to discuss in this video. I think this is the one that's being presented on StreamYards. Let me have a look. Yes, that's definitely
it looks good.
Same one. Okay, that's definitely the same one. So I'll just double click it. That's your channel, Sea Science. And then I'll just play.
One of the greatest mysteries of mankind is where did we come from? Scientists and
where you want it, Sea Science, at the very beginning.
Sure, yeah, send it. Play on.
Okay.
I have pondered this elusive question and put forth many explanations, but in truth, no one really knows. Good evening. I'm Charlton Heston. In their search for answers, scientists gather evidence and develop theories based on what they observe. But sometimes evidence turns up that completely contradicts this. Footprints resembling modern man's were discovered in Texas, side by side with dinosaur tracks. Does this mean that...
Oh, so this is the longer version. All right.
Man lived millions of years ago at the time of the dinosaur? These 70-ton blocks were somehow transported to the Peruvian mountain temple of Ollantaytambo. The only source of this red granite is 5 miles away on the peak of another mountain. Ancient maps have been discovered which correctly depict the continent of Antarctica centuries before it was discovered by Europeans. Some claim this is evidence of a technologically advanced culture that existed before recorded history began. Tonight we'll examine these and other controversial findings to see if what we're being taught about the origins of man is supported by the evidence.
Yep.
We'll meet the claim that the history of man on this planet may be radically different than what is accepted today. Before the 19th century, Western man looked to the Bible for an explanation of his origins. In the story of Genesis, God created man from the dust of the earth 6,000 years ago. But when man dug into the earth for answers, he found evidence that appeared to tell a different story: evolution. In 1859, Charles Darwin published his book, The Origin of Species. This book put forth the revolutionary idea that all life on Earth could be explained by the workings of nature. Instead of a supreme being creating the diversity of life, the theory of evolution proposes that accidental changes in nature are the cause. These changes are governed by the process of natural selection, survival of the fittest. Over the past 2 centuries, archaeologists have collected bones and artifacts that suggest there's a logical sequence of evolutionary steps from ape to man. Man's earliest relatives were ape-like beings who appeared around 25 million years ago. The first of those to walk upright emerged 20 million years later. Over the remaining 5 million years, he continued to evolve, passing through various stages of development until modern man, like ourselves, emerged over 100,000 years ago. Archaeologists determine the age of artifacts by the level of strata or layer of earth they're found in. Recent artifacts associated with modern man are generally found close to the surface, while older, more primitive artifacts are in deeper layers of the ground. But sometimes artifacts are found that break all the rules. Archaeologists call them anomalous artifacts. What happens when we find a modern human skull in rock strata far beneath even the oldest of man's ancestors? In their controversial book, Forbidden Archaeology, Michael Cremo and Dr. Richard Thompson have documented hundreds of these anomalous artifacts which have yet to be explained.
The basic body of evidence that we've uncovered in this book suggests that human beings of modern anatomical type have been existing for many, many millions of years into the past.
In 1880, California state geologist.
That's of course if you see millions of years in the rock strata and in your worldview, then you're going to believe millions of years. But if you don't believe millions of years, thousands of years, into the past.
Yeah, if you believe thousands of years and then you're finding things in the Precambrian that are human or artificially created, it makes a lot more sense to believe that those layers aren't as old as they're claimed to be. So
yeah,
that's how I see it.
And bubblegum, you wanted to? What did you want to talk about?
Well, I don't think I have much to say because, like, I'm not sure if you notice. I think I commented on this before. Like, he makes a like near the beginning of the video says like, because the only presentation of creation that they give off is the Bible. So to them, if they can debunk the Bible, that's good enough to like debunk all creation.
Sure. Which is a it's not logical because you can't do that. There's so many different models of creation. You know? Yeah. And I mean the old Earth creation. Well, see that still has the problem with these out of place artifacts. You know, because then you're still looking for that step by step human evolution concept.
Because I feel most of, like, for example, if you ask an atheist, like, what would disprove evolution, they'll say a rabbit in a Cambrian. But not only is this a bit fallacious, because this is mostly attack on creationism. This is presupposing all animals were created at the same time. So this is more of attack on a straw man of a creationist model, and specifically the Bible creationist model.
Sure, I see that. But I also see that they're not realizing the obvious when they come at creationists with that argument of the squirrel and the Cambrian, or even Precambrian, because most of the Precambrian and Cambrian fossils are marine. And in fact, 95% of the fossils that we have discovered are marine fossils. So you have, you're looking for a squirrel in the wrong ecosystem. You dig it?
Yeah, because it's like if they're willing to accept, a rabbit, because why would a rabbit in the Cambrian disprove evolution? They won't answer
Right.
that. But the reason it would disprove evolution is because it's out of the order of the evolution. It's out of evolutionary order according to their model. So even if we were to find the paw of a leopard or the paw of an ape next to a dinosaur, that would still disprove evolution because it's out of the evolutionary order.
Sure. Yeah. And I like to answer those evolution proponents that asked that. Like Bill Nye asked that to Ken Ham, I believe. He should have come back at him and said, well, see these orange brittle stars in my avatar? Like we have orange brittle star fossils going back 350 million years plus, coming out of Morocco. They're claimed to be 350 million years old. And they look just like the modern brittle star. So, I mean, if his argument is in any case that he's saying that you don't find modern animals in the Precambrian, that's incorrect, because you just find seafloor animals in the Cambrian and Precambrian, the very earliest stages. So it's an impossible question, because first of all, you're asking for a mammal in marine fossils, sediment layers, marine fossils. And I guess they showed a shot of the White Cliffs at Dover there, because you have the chalk cliffs, the white chalk cliffs, and this chalk is some of the oldest, I guess, claimed some of the oldest layers on the planet. But it's also, it's filled with sea life, because it was a bunch of sea animal material that was piled up at one point in time, which is an amazing thing, because it goes across the entire west coast of Europe, and in a lot of places there's these chalk cliffs that are just eroding into the open ocean currently, dropping chalk off into the ocean. And chalk, of course, is made of marine life. So at some point in time, there was enough marine animals, like coral reefs and a lot of just marine debris, piled up into piles that were hundreds of meters high, because these chalk cliffs are still there, and they're still hundreds of meters high. So even if they were compressed by like 1.5 times, this was one big pile of marine material that got washed up onto the coast of Europe.
Absolutely. And it's funny, like the atheists will usually criticize the Christians about, like, well, what about the heat problem? But this is something they require, because, for example, how do you make oil? Well, oil isn't just carbon. It's extracted from living things. So you need a bunch of dead organisms, then you need to get them all together, heat them up, and compress them. That's how you get oil. You do this with algae. That's how we make artificial oil. So in order for the atheists to explain the ridiculous abundance amount of oil, they're going to have to appeal to a heat problem. So, quote unquote, heat problem.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, for me, I'm like not trying to rationalize the flood of Noah. in any natural way, because even according to the Bible, like that whole event, that catastrophic event, was a miracle of God. Okay, so like he was in control, and God isn't bound by natural laws in the first place. So what I'm saying is the flood was a supernatural event, and trying to rationalize it naturally is really not reasonable.
Well, yes,
You know?
the cause is supernatural. I think we can all agree there.
Yeah. I mean, they're like trying to rationalize like where the water went. It's like, you guys think that the God that multiplies everything is going to have a problem multiplying the water and then making it go away for a while? It's like, guys, you're trying to naturalize something that's supernatural. You can't do it. You shouldn't try. It would be like trying to rationalize the splitting of the Red Sea as it really is described. You know, you can't.
Yeah, they'll appeal like there's some heavy wind, and there being a ridge. Yeah, some of those videos.
But the description, yeah. Have you seen the History Channel try to say it was, there was a low tide and the wind blew on it and dried it off, and it was all natural event? Yeah, no, not if it happened like it was described in the Bible, where you had two walls of water standing on each side, and they walk down into the valley and back up, and it's like, yeah, no.
Plus, weren't they crossing that for like at least days? It just wasn't.
Oh yeah. The Red Sea is like, it's not just a river,
Yeah.
I mean, I forgot how far across it is. It's like a mile or something. I'm going to look that up. Jason, are you still with us, man? I know he's out walking his doggies, so.
Because like the reason the way I explain this away is because like I don't think there was a one creation event. To me, there's multiple creations events. Because like if you look at the Bible, you can separate Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 as two separate events. Because you guys start with a world pre-flooded, so you guys don't count it as a flood. I would count that as a flood. I say first it was dry, flooded, dry, and then flooded once more. As opposed to you guys started with it already being covered in water, dried up, flooded, and then flooded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different interpretations of the creation story in Genesis chapter 1. There's one view where they separate the first verse of the first chapter of Genesis from the rest because of the semicolon, I think, or something. But maybe it's I don't know.
Because I see it as the necessary. For example, how do we get that oil? Well,
sure.
So something's gonna be needed to be sacrificed. So if God creates, a planet without human beings, there's no reason to sacrifice human beings. So, you could just make these animals that are going to be sacrificed for the creation of oil.
Okay, so you have the oil being created in the first flood. When God comes here, there's already water here.
Yeah,
basically. So you believe the planet was inhabited before the creation that God made here.
Yeah, before human. Well, I believe there was a first creation of wildlife, but not humans or anything, that would have the same type of consciousness as we have, intellect.
And then God came back and used this planet again, basically.
Yeah. So the reason we see all this oil and all this chalk, all this petrified animals in the seas, because they were sacrificed to make that oil.
I see. That's an interesting concept. I mean, everyone has a different model surrounding the Bible, so. I used to be an old earther, and I used to put my time between the first verse of Genesis and the rest of the first chapter of Genesis. And I used to believe that the universe was so old, we might as well not even, consider it, because it's so beyond humanity that we could never fathom the age of the universe or eternity. And, I believe that the entire universe, that the verse 1 was talking about the creation of all the universe, and all the planets, all the solar systems and everything right there in verse 1. And then who knows how much time passed. And then you get into verse 2, and then you have the days of the week of creation. You know what I mean? Separating it.
Yeah.
But now I do put the first verse with the rest of it as that being part of day 1, you know, where it's like possibly the creation of the positive and negative, or the separation of the light and the darkness is more kind of like separating the polar opposites of reality. We have positive and negative, or good and evil, just creating that, conceptualizing that, you know what I mean, could be part of day 1 too as well. So you have in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. There you have him manifesting everything to existence from thought, you know.
Yeah.
And apart from each other too, because he doesn't say, like, you know, there's no like real description of a big bang event in Genesis. Some people want to read one into it, but it seems like he's just speaking these things into existence or making them be. But I always thought, like, 1 through 7, days 1 through 6, I mean, are obviously God creating the ecosystems on this planet, and specifically creating this planet, you know. So in some ways, like, it is separate, because God comes here to a world that's covered in water, you know, and the Spirit of God hovers over the depths. And then he pulls the dry land out from underneath the water, you know. But I mean, so like believing.
So yeah, it's when he says hover over the waters, I take it that is a slightly different interpretation, because you hear the talk of the waters in other religions. I'm not sure if you ever seen the Egyptian movie, The Egyptian Gods.
I don't, but I've read a bit of stuff on Egypt's religions and stuff.
So basically they got the waters of Nu or something like that, and it's basically just the waters of chaos. And they also speak of, you know, they rise creation from lifting and out of chaos. So when in the Bible it talks about hovering over the waters, I don't think he's talking about literal H2O, but hovering in something prior to creation.
Well, I mean, what I'd say is, like, what we should do is we should study Genesis chapter 1 one of these days together on this little get together thing, and go over verse by verse and see exactly where it leads us, as far as, you know, because I mean, it's fine to have you know, it's good to have a deeper understanding of it. You dig it?
Yeah. Because the reason I joined is to have a different perspective, because perhaps I'm not understanding the Christian text, so I get more context from people like Price I Am, because he knows the text.
Well, we all think we do.
If he would just abandon his free grace position, I think it would be a lot better.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a Christian school, and I got a lot of Bible education, and I mean a lot. And we went to even the deeper studies like angelology and stuff. I did a little bit of that the other day in my live chat into angelology. I've taken some of the deeper studies, eschatology, I don't know, eschatology and such, and so forth. So I know a bit of, like, you know, the other Jewish mystical writings, and I've read them, and you know, I form opinions on them, and I've read a lot of the apocryphy that was taken, the pseudepigraphy, and it was taken from the Bible when the English version was put together. And I agree with a lot of it should have been taken out. And I don't know if they got it all out that they should have taken out, and that's my thing, but who knows? You know, so like we're all different. We all have different views. So like, I mean, while I am a biblical creationist and a young earth creationist, like I don't necessarily hold all the same model that the rest of them do. And I don't even get into like the flood and the heat problem, because for me, it's like, it's not a problem. First of all, you have salt water, which is one of the best insulators known that we know about. Okay. It's even what we use to cool our nuclear facilities. Yeah. I mean, yeah. They're using regular water here in the States. They don't even use hard water. They use regular water to cool their nuclear reactors.
Oh, they don't use heavy water.
Yeah, they don't even use heavy water in the United States anymore, as far as I know. So, and I mean, it's one of the finest insulators on the planet. And then, you know, how much water was there? We don't know. Because here you have a God that can multiply things, just manifest them by thinking about it. It's like God didn't stop creating at the creation of the planet. They said his work was done. But God can do whatever he wants in his creation now. That much is obvious from reading the Bible. I mean, you even have an instance where he creates another animal. In Jonah, he fashions that fish or whatever to eat Jonah and preserve him to get to Nineveh. So you have a story where he's actually there creating something again, even a living form, you know, that might have just been specifically fashioned for Jonah, not even a whale.
Yeah, I think people like Stand for Truth, they do God at the service by limiting all he can only create at the beginning, but because you know it's not biblical. But I mean, he supports a lot of things that aren't biblical. But this is one thing, you know, you can't let go of this one thing.
Well, I'll tell you that it seems like it's a vast distance to these other galaxies and stuff. And I mean, it seems impossible now. We might be able to sail there someday, but like right now it seems impossible. So it's like, to me, the universe just seems like a playground for God to go around and create his own environments and stuff like he did here. And that's how I see it. But, you know, so like in my mind, God's still creating, and that's what he's up to now. And he's kind of like left, but he'll be back someday, you know. And I think that's what Revelations is about. It's his return.
See, because like the way I do think possibly there are other human beings on other planets. But even if it wasn't, I think that the main reason why, you know, God creates all these stars and planets in outer space is for purely the aesthetic version. If we looked up in the outer space, there was nothing; it was pure darkness. I think that would be daunting. So
sure,
it is an aesthetic choice, you know, put all these stars up there, primarily for us.
And I do think he points us in the direction of the stars because he allows us to see them in the first place. In a way, like he could have just hid all of that from us and we'd been ignorant of anything but the clouds and the blue sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could have been day every day.
Yeah, like if you lived on Jupiter, there's that huge cloud cover overhead, the overcast. Like if there was living things on Jupiter, I don't think there is, but they would not know that there was space, probably, you know, outer space. Because they would be able to see up into it. And it's probably a pretty interesting feature of the Earth that we can see through our atmosphere. You know, like I'm sure a lot of planets are cloud covered. And
because a lot of it seems aesthetic. Like
it is, yeah. Like, and that's what Genesis says, is it was to see, like to see at night and for seasons. You know, the stars will be for seasons and telling seasons.
Yeah, because like if we were to define the word creation as true theists, we would say it is the work of beauty. It is
sure.
It is because, you know, God isn't out here, you know, making dog turds.
Yeah.
but you know, despite it being the product of the, you know, of the actual creation, which is, you know, a beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, he does mighty good works. Blessed is the Lord our God, King of the universe, for varying his creation. Yeah.
But I wonder how strange can creation get? Because there's also like a a limiting factor of which planet you are. For example, the atmosphere in the time of the dinosaurs was different. You had like these giant things that could fly.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think another thing too, and I was going over this with Jason the other day. They say there was a time when it was all this giant stuff, and it was only giant stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe there was giant stuff and small stuff. We find it all mixed together. So it's like, but it's always the idea of the evolution narrative is always tied into it because it's their idea that these bigger forms were like the basal forms of these creatures we have modernly.
Yeah, and that makes no sense. Like how do we start big and then get small? It's supposed to be the other way. You're supposed to start small and it gets to the big.
Right.
It just
like if they found 3,000 people dead, buried in a grave today and dug them up out of layers, they would say the bigger ones were the older ones. I mean, not with people because it works different with humans. I guess that was a really bad example. But any other animal, I just noticed that too. With humans, it's the opposite. We're going smaller to larger, and all the other animals have gotten larger to smaller. It's kind of weird. But,
allegedly.
Yeah, so they say. With these little monkey critters. And I was, I was talking to Friday about the chromosome 2 event, this whole hypothetical event.
The chromosome 2 fusion?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. It was bogus. The only they're basically betting on standing for truth to say it did fuse because they require. I noticed a bunch of the evolutionist theories are always seeking the Christian approval because if they can't get it past the Christians, they were not going to get it past the public. So they need the chromosome 2 fusion because let's see. Well, first of all, it's not something that's ever been observed because when we do see it, you get cancer. That's the only time we ever see chromosome 2 fusions. People get cancer.
Or other fusion events and stuff.
Yeah.
It's always detrimental. And every chromosome fusion event that we've witnessed in all of the critters around us, even that have these fusions, it's always a detrimental event. So here you have this hypothetical chromosome 2 human fusion event where supposedly it made a bipedal critter appear. That's really what they believe. And they believe it was a single generation.
Single generation.
It went from quadruped to biped. Like that was the...
It's like, if they believe that, okay, why don't you just take a chimp and then fuse it? See what you get.
Yeah. Just keep interbreeding it until you get a... I don't know. It's just like, monkey. But then they believe, okay, so then you have this one critter walking around, right? Well, now you need a population of them. So then they got to believe that mated with a monkey and that its offspring were mostly dominantly the bipedal one. So but it wouldn't be as perfect of a biped as it was originally because it would have had to hybridize, to create its new population. It's just it's so ridiculous.
I think, yeah, because it's the whole monkeys coming to Brazil from Africa. The thing is because first of all, you need 2 to tango, so they're gonna require 2 monkeys surfing on a log. Let's just grant it, and then these monkeys are gonna commit absolute insane amount of generations of incest. But trust me, these incest monkeys led to the diversity of all Brazil again.
Oh yeah, that's why there's so many kinds of monkeys.
Yeah,
that's
because they have an Adam and Eve for Brazilian monkeys. Just got to think about it. They have an Adam and Eve for Brazilian monkeys.
That's crazy.
It's a lot of goofy stuff, and you ask them to like, do you actually take this seriously? And they'll say with a straight face, yeah. That surfing monkeys is totally legit.
See, like, I think like a lot of them just don't know their own stuff. And it's just so ridiculous. Like, because from the surface, like chromosome 2 fusion event, oh, that's interesting. What the hell does that mean? But then, like, when you dig into it, it's like, you believe that? You believe this is what made us human, basically? Well, not human, but like, you know, Australopithecine. It's like, what? How? Every other animal that this has happened to, like, you know,
gets cancer and dies.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, we get it. It happens to us now, and we're autistic or whatever. Or, no, we have Down. That's what Down syndrome is. One cause of Down syndrome is a fusion event.
Yeah, and those people are infertile. Like, most of the time, they're infertile. They can't even have babies.
Yeah,
got retarded brains and retarded balls.
Well, it's heading that direction. So you have a lot of extinction going on right now, and that to me is a really telling fact. Anyway, when you have, you know, whatever 30% of the species dying off of the planet right now, and it's like we're supposed to believe that these things were around for the last 65 million years. When we're witnessing them go at a rate that's like they couldn't have been here that long, man. Because you're going to tell me that they survived a bunch of ice ages, but like the temperature changes 2 degrees and they're all going to die off.
Oh yeah, here they are complaining about climate change.
Yeah,
it's going to kill us.
Oh yeah, it's going to wipe out the whole planet, man. And then it's like, oh, but you know, this has happened over and over again, and we just keep getting killed down to lizards. Coming back.
Don't question. Like, eventually, like, a lizard person is gonna show up, and it's like, don't question why there's a lizard person as your president. It just evolved that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, the whole you know, the whole backstory on the lizard aliens, the reptilians, is that they believe that during this time before whatever event wiped out the dinosaurs, that a group of dinosaurs evolved intelligence or the ability to write, you know. And then they wrote themselves some math, and they used math to get up to the moon or whatever. And
do they have like a dinosaur god?
Who knows? It could be. They might have a dinosaur Jesus. They've got everything written into this. There's books. There's endless books written about these things that don't even like really exist. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god, this reminds me like of this. Like, there's a '90s show about like dinosaurs that can talk. Dinotopia, I think.
Oh, Land of the Lost. Is it Land of the Lost?
I think so.
It's called Dinotopia. I'm sorry.
It is one of those.
Okay.
It's the '90s. It's been a while.
Huh.
Yeah, the '90s over 20 years ago.
Is that the one where there's like that dinosaur is hitting the dad in the head and saying, "Not the mama, not the mama"?
Oh no, that's a different one. It's
okay.
It was the baby dinosaur.
Yes, baby, and then there was mama. I forgot exactly how it went, but it was called Dinosaurs. I'm pretty sure, or Dinosaur or something. But yeah, I remember that. An elf. And now there's nothing like that, I'm pretty sure, on TV.
I know.
No.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry.
Did we lose there's Jason. Jason, what's going on, man? How are your dogs doing, man?
Okay. I just wanted to hang on. You want me to let me see.
Hey, we're all good. We were just discussing in depth in Genesis and some other outer space stuff. We even got into reptilian aliens there for a minute. So,
what do you think about the reptilian aliens? Well, I don't think they're aliens. I think these ones are actually interdimensional, opposed to the
my dog's drinking. Sorry.
Because like
Terrence McKenna's Mechanical Elves.
Yeah.
Was
Terrence McKenna the bomber?
No, he was a nut job.
Oh.
His idea was that basically people ate mushrooms, gaining intelligence or their civilization through psychedelics.
Is that the guy who says the monkeys ate the mushrooms and became humans?
Yes. Yes. He says, could it be by chance that my pinky finger on my left hand fits perfectly into my left nostril?
So magic mushy gobbling apes ate magic mushies and became humans. All right.
Sure.
There's the jaguars that like get high in Brazil, so they're up next. The jaguar people.
Yeah, they'll start writing, talking soon. They're the next runners up for sure. Oh man, monkeys, man. They have hands. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't like them. Sometimes this is why I'm a polytheist. Like some creations are beautiful, and then some creations I'm like, what were you thinking?
That's what makes it fun,
Yeah.
But shoot first, ask questions later when it comes to monkeys and apes. That's it.
It's just like, why did you give that monkey a big butt, a big red butt?
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder about somebody who gets a monkey with a big red butt. Maybe they didn't know it was going to get a big red butt when it grew up.
This is why I lean polytheist. It's like, I think they might be separate creators because one of these guys is wacky and the other guy is making kilo dogs.
You see two different personalities, or maybe more.
Yeah, I see different personalities in creation.
Well, there are 3 of them, buddy. Just saying.
Somebody might accuse you of like they them complex.
Well, I told him, a true believer in the Trinity is a polytheist. So,
yeah, I don't think you guys can get over that the logical problem of the Trinity. Except in one way, but I didn't like this one. So it's probably worse than the logical problem of the Trinity, because you would have to say that you have a hive mind God. So the way I seen Standing for Truth and others like inspiring philosophy explain it is that there's one mind with 3 centers of consciousness. Now, how do you have one mind with 3 centers of consciousness? Well, that's describing what is effectively a hive mind. And if you know anything about hive minds, this is like the Borg. Which is I would not.
Well, isn't a hive mind like the idea of bees or ants or whatever, and they have one leader? Or am I just way off?
Yeah, in nature that's how it shows. But in the esoteric, how is that, how does that manifest?
Sure. Well, think of yourself in a room with no one else. Really long time.
Millions
You're gonna talk to but yourself. I don't know.
Oh, start going.
And the next thing you know, there's 3 is sitting there.
There's a great.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then the second guy doesn't want to give up their individuality because they're now like, hey, I didn't come here. You're the crazy one.
It's all conceptual, man. It's all in the mind of God. So it's got to fit. But you can play that on if you want to. Listen, it's all filtered, and this guy, like at the end of this, I think he nails it. Like he flat out nails it. The information that the archaeologists, the anthropologists, paleoanthropologists are feeding the general public is it's just a narrative, man. It's all filtered information. They'll go through, and I really do believe like they're doing, like, some of them are actually doing honest research, or at least, you know, as honest as you might expect. They're actually misinterpreting these remains, you know, not on purpose, but they believe that they're finding what they're finding is what, you know, what their hypothetical Sasquatches and stuff. I think that they really believe this, you know. So I don't know if Johansson did, or Johansson with Lucy. I think he knew that he was definitely making a Frankenstein out there. You know, it's pretty hard to believe what occurred with the baboon remain for him to be like, he was definitely making a Frankenstein, and he knew it out of multiple things, or that wouldn't have been in there, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, you'll see here. There's a woman, this doctor, that actually found remains of humans in South America, I believe. And as you know, they think that South America was probably the last colonized continent according to human evolution. You know, it's the furthest away from Africa or whatever, walking across the narrow strait. So you have this concept that it was only within the last few thousand years that we got to South America. So we're not supposed to be in any layers there. Basically, if you find 100,000-year-old person in South America, then you have a problem with the human evolution narrative. So this lady, basically, she's digging around in South America. She finds some human remains, and they're in the wrong layers, and she goes to report them, and she's pushed out of her chosen field of research, it says. So if that's true, if that story is true, then yes, archaeology is definitely a filtered research. It's not honest scientific research, none of that. It's tailored for the evolution narrative. And that's a scary thing, because that means that we're working with a serious religion here. This has become these people's religion, and they're pretty much in control of the scientific community. So that's also scary.
Well, I think they pretty much already infiltrated all of academia. I mean, Gutsy Gibbon is an archaeologist.
Sure.
And it's like people like Robert Suffer, who are like probably like among the last true archaeologists. They're getting pushed out.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of them, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, they're going to get their way, I'm pretty sure, unless there's enough pushback, and there has to be enough people willing to put effort into it.
Well, I mean, it's not just, it's it's a whole conglomeration. They got the government behind them. They got you got people in high places.
Yeah.
Maybe some CEOs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's shots of like Obama and like the great presidents with Lucy, like.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Where they just go to visit these, you know, ancient human ancestors. This is like a trip that they do as a president. It's weird.
Wasn't one of them kissing a monkey skull?
Okay, so what you have there is you have the Naledi skull. That's a very well-known photo. And there's two people kissing the skull. One of them is the South African president. Okay, and you know, South Africa's in the news lately, going against Israel and with that genocide charge. But yeah, so he's kissing the skull because, well, they found it in South Africa. It's going to go to the South African Natural History Museum, that's for sure. And that's going to draw in a whole lot of money.
An unexpected discovery made.
So, but yeah, I mean, let's get into this.
Under Table Mountain.
Sorry, I was just going into. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, it's good timing.
Yeah, run it, buddy.
Wait a sec. I was just trying to. Hang on.
I don't know if you want to try a different setting on the bit rate? It might make it. I don't know if it's choppy on your end, but it could be my connection.
Oh, is it choppy on your end? Is it okay? Maybe. I don't know. Hang on. Does this need to be? Let me have a look.
While digging for gold, miners unearthed a variety of stone tools such as mortar and pestles and ladles. Incredibly, the rock strata the tools were reportedly found in was dated as early as 55 million years old. Whitney made a thorough report in these finds and came to an unsettling conclusion. Man could be millions of years older than the current evolutionary model suggests. This bizarre evidence seems to have been well documented, yet the general public and many within the scientific community are unaware of these controversial finds. The question is...
Talking about a massive cover-up. As I said, over the past 150 years, these archaeologists and anthropologists have covered up as much evidence as they've dug up, literally.
That was a natural edit.
Basically, what you find is something we call a knowledge filter. This is a fundamental feature of science. It's also a fundamental feature of human. People tend to filter.
Did you want to say something?
No, I just laughed at the term knowledge filter. Filtering the knowledge.
We'll make any compound term up. To subscribe.
Things that
it's literally the ministry of truth.
If you can hear if you can hear that noise in the background, that's my dog making all weird noises. You know, just sitting there going weird breathing noises and snoring sometimes and stuff like that. It's just my dog. Just want to let you know that it's not me. Well, you know, it's not me snoring because I'm talking, but.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Do you want to play this?
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Don't fit. That don't make sense in terms of their paradigm or their way of thinking. So in science, you find that evidence that doesn't fit the accepted paradigm tends to be eliminated. It's not taught. It's not discussed. And people who are educated in scientific teachings generally don't even learn about it.
Conventional theory states that modern man originated in southern Africa around 100,000 years ago. From there, he migrated north into Europe and southern Asia, continued through Asia, and crossed the Bering Strait into the New World around 30,000 years ago. He then came down through North America and finally arrived in South America around 15,000 years ago. Yet numerous artifacts have been found across North and South America that are so old they threaten to completely overturn this theory. According to geologist Virginia Steen McIntyre, she was silenced at the height of her career because of her determination to report the facts. In the summer of 1966, a collection of stone tools, including this leaf-shaped spear point, was uncovered at Hueyatlico, Mexico. To find out exactly how old the spear points were, a team of experts from the United States Geological Survey was called in to date them.
When we first began to work on the Hueyatlico site, we thought we had an old site. This is back in '66, and we thought it was perhaps 20,000 years old. And at that time, that was considered a very old age for the site. We did what they call radiometric dates, which gives an actual date range. And we used two different methods to do that. One was using uranium atoms, another one was using little zircon crystals. When we finally got the dates and all the different methods we used to date it, it came out to be 250,000 years old. To tell you the truth, I would have been happy with a 20,000-year-old date. It would have made my career. It was very old for the time, but it wasn't so old that it was that controversial. People can take 20,000-year steps. They can't take steps that are over 200,000 years at one time. And I was rather naive. I thought, okay, we've got something big here, but I'm just going to stick with the date. We've got the information. We got the facts. Let's get the facts out and go on from there. And I didn't realize it was going to ruin my whole career.
According to Dr. McIntyre, because she stuck to the facts, all of her professional opportunities were closed off. She's not worked in her chosen field since. The site was closed and permission for further investigation was denied forever.
It's not necessarily a deliberate conspiracy in the sense of some people getting together in a smoke-filled room and saying, we're going to deceive people. It's something that happens automatically within the scientific community. So when a given piece of evidence disagrees with the predominant theory, then automatically people won't talk about it, they won't report it, and that means that science fails to progress in the way that one would hope.
And that's that.
Yeah, I like how you put it. Like, not sure if you've seen George Carlin.
Sure, George Carlin.
Yeah, he talks about, like, he's responding to this other guy. He's like, there's no conspiracy to, get people, certain people in office, but like he responds, well, no, these people all went to the same school, they went to the same fraternity, they know each other.
Yeah, so there's no call or conspiracy.
Yeah.
No.
So it is an automatic conspiracy.
There's no higher education clubs.
Yeah.
No. There's no fraternity in colleges like Harvard and I don't know. But I will tell you that was the video. So I mean, if things are the way she says, that's not good. And like you said, people like Gutsy Gibbons being geologists and stuff, and it's like they get all these
positions. I mean, other ATAs are going to give other ATAs a position. And and they don't seem to understand it. It's always about, it comes down to power. Who has the power? And it's just, Christians are just like, just hand it over sometimes. It's like, oh, we it's all about peace and love. Like, god dang hippies. Like, they're going to remove you. They're going to replace you, and you just hand them the keys over to them.
Yeah. I mean, the best. I mean, not the best, but the best known creationist organizations like the Ken Ham's AIG. You have ICR, Institute of Creation Research. They do a bit. I mean, they do a bit on putting out articles and stuff, but they don't do all that they could. And I think there's definitely room for more pushback from the creationist community against this human evolution narrative. And I think there should be. I think more people need to get after it. I mean, I know a lot of people don't have free time to get after it, but
it's like
everybody
people
can do a little something. So
yeah, like for example, Stephen Meyer, he's in a position to do it, but he lets a lot, like, for what's the other guy? The guy who debated Lee.
Dr. Tor.
Yeah, there you go, Dr. Tor. Keep forgetting their names. Like these guys
Leroy Cronin.
Yeah, like these guys are in great positions, but they put the theology first and their interpretation of theology first, because they don't want anything to backfire against them.
Sure. Well, they're always. I see Ken Ham especially, like he's coming from. It's more. I guess that there's more creation evangelism than there is creation science organizations. Is a good way to say it.
Yeah, that is that.
Because I would say Ken Ham would be more of creation evangelism, as well as I don't know. I mean, obviously, Hovind is creation evangelism. Like he labels his stuff that, creation science evangelism, but he sticks to the science, I'd say, a lot of the time. And he does differentiate between his theories and known science, so I appreciate that. And but yeah, so Ken Ham, I see him, especially in that Bill Nye debate. He could have done much better. I think that if Bill Nye would have debated Hovind, it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah.
And a bunch of astonished people in the audience. But
yeah, because a lot of the so-called apologists are really weak sauce. Like
they really are. And they stick more to the evangelism. And they'll even quote verses and stuff for these evolutionists, and that just makes
bores me to it bores me to tears. Like, quit your evangelism. I don't want to hear it. Nobody in the audience wants to hear it.
They want to talk to the naturalists.
Yeah,
and they have to have a different doctrine to come at them with than what they got.
Well, yeah,
and they're working on it. I mean, they're working on it right now. But,
yeah, because they're approaching these people who like as if they're like just children who are lost. Like, no, these people are not lost. They hate you, and they will do anything to discredit you.
Oh yeah, the backlash, and even in the chat, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like Bill Nye. He's not stupid. He knows it's wrong, but he's gonna do everything within his power to make you look foolish.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and he's just like this TV entity. I don't know.
Yeah, because like a lot of it is just tossing your pearls to pigs, and they just so blind to that.
Sure. Like in Job, where it says that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. What do you think, Jason?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention that much. I was looking at something else. What were you saying?
I don't even know. Do you want to close it up for the night, or?
I mean, it's like, what was I gonna? There was one doc I was gonna look at before, and I can't remember which doc it was.
What was the topic?
Close it up. I mean, no, not long, but it was just something that I wanted to say quickly. But and besides Sea Science, if you need to go, then you can go, and then we can, keep going or whatever.
All right. Well, one more thing before I do scoot.
You're tired.
I don't know if did you get my? Did you get that email I sent you with the picture of the sea creature's skull?
Yes.
Can you put that up on the browser to view?
Let me see.
That would be. I gotta show. I'm sure Gum's seen this thing already because it was in the news. I think last month.
I don't actually watch the news.
Oh, okay, there you go. Well, maybe you didn't see it, and this was also in like the science news and stuff. And I don't know if I wouldn't say it was hidden because I definitely saw it, but
they do keep some of the things off, like the mainstream news. For example, there was a giant scarab they found. I think it was like at least 2 feet across.
That's a big bug.
Yeah, and of course, you can't. It was mummified. They found this in the pyramids.
Wow, and they had a lot of scarabs in their art.
Yeah.
Huh.
So those giant scarabs you see, they weren't lying. They were actually that big.
Are you really into studying Egypt and stuff, or?
I like it because it's got one of the religions that has a great record keeping.
Yeah, they did. They have the papyruses and stuff you can read and some of them are pretty well translated even. So
yeah, I'm hoping they translate all those scrolls they found in Tibet at one point or another.
In Tibet?
Yeah, they found around it was a bunch of scrolls that got around 1 million.
Wow. From the monks?
Yeah, from the monks. I think they hit them because they were scared the communists was going to burn them.
Sure. Wow. So they're going to have like their own
Renaissance.
Buddhist. Is it Taoism or Buddhism?
I think it's Buddhism.
Okay.
So it's part of their Buddhist Renaissance.
So they will have a decent amount of Buddhist literature coming out then in the next few years. Ideally.
Yeah.
Huh. That'd be all right. I have some different religion books other than Christianity and Judaism.
There it is.
The heck is that?
That is the skull that they pulled out of the side of the cliff by the seashore in the UK.
It doesn't look like a dolphin because dolphins don't have that sort of teeth.
Yeah. Look how big it is next to that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, those teeth are what stick out, you know?
Yeah, they're not crocodile. They're not shark.
Yeah. That was supposed to be a sort of like a plesiosaur thing, but with a shorter neck.
Yeah, it's more closer to dinosaur because of the fangs.
Yeah. But it looks just like a dragon skull to me. So.
Oh, it does too. You mentioned
it. But they didn't recover the rest of the body. It's still in the cliff, I guess.
Did they check for DNA?
I don't know. I don't know if they do. If they did.
No, they wouldn't have.
A lot of the
goes
studies.
against devil.
Yeah. A lot of these things, like they don't have the actual tests published for any kinds of DNA testing, especially like Lucy and all those hominids. Like you'd think like they try at least to test Lucy or parts of her, like maybe get into that sacrum and see what kind of animal it is. But no, there's no real critical analysis going on, it seems like, of these finds. And that's what really sticks out to me, as that there's some serious foul play going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sea monster. Yeah, buddy. Plesiosaur, not plesiosaur, but plesiosaur.
Like Nessie?
Yeah. But like a shorter, chunkier.
Oh, Nessie.
But you know, the thing is they're saying that because apparently they've found one of these before. But yet they haven't exhumed any of this one's body. And they say that the cliffs, in this article, they go on about how the cliffs are very dangerous, to walk on. And they probably won't dig the rest of the body out after all, because it's so much work, and they already have this good skull to go.
Oh yeah, you get hazard of stuff falling on your head and all that. No thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Rocks loose and
no.
There's I don't know if it's just that photo, but I think there's articles online that show the cliff it was pulled out of. And it's pretty cool. But they just found this like a month or two.
Is it very steep? Like
oh yeah, it's like a face, like a wall, like a like along the shoreline. Sometime you go in a little bit and you'll see just a flat rock face. So, yeah. I was sticking out of the side of the cliff, and somebody recognized like it as like something natural, and they started digging around it, reported it. 6 feet. That could swallow you whole, probably. It
can certainly bite. Look at those chompas.
It'd be cooler if it had horns on it.
Look at that. Like a dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, God could code a dragon. I mean, he already made a lizard. I think the only hard part would probably be the fire breathing.
Sure. But it is recorded in the Bible that there are those fire-breathing dragons, so it was part of the creation at one point.
Yeah, they could be like, animals part of the astral realm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it could be something else. I mean, there could be more intelligent like critters, like us that can talk and stuff. And then there could be ones that are more like animals, you know. And, you know, the garden was very special. The Garden of Eden was different. And there was things there that, like, you could never even imagine because we haven't even found the remains of them, you know. There were more species and varieties in the garden than you could even imagine today. And all the jungles of all the world and all the rainforests put together, it wasn't what the garden was. So
yeah, because apparently the guy from Aliens. You ever seen the Alien movies?
sure,
Yeah,
with what's her face? I forget.
well, that basically he got the inspiration from like a real animal. The tongue thing. Ugh.
Oh, sure.
It creeps me out.
Oh, what animal has that though? Because I think I've seen it. Now that you've mentioned that.
I think it's some sort of eel.
Huh. The one
Those
that ate
things,
Mario.
Yeah, those things look freaky.
Yeah. The moray eels. You can get the spotted moray eels. And that's what ate Mario, man. In Mario 64. But yeah.
Yeah, because like when people talk about the garden, you know, I was expecting, you know, puppy land, just a bunch of puppies.
Sure.
How do I get to that video that we were watching before? I can't remember what email it was in. Like, did you send it in an email or?
Yeah, I should be in that same email. I can send.
Okay.
Do you want the first video or the second video from this last email?
The one that I want the video from the video we were reviewing in the 7-hour long thing. And
I don't know if that's uploaded yet. I've got a link to the original one. Yeah. Hang on. It is. I'll send it to your.
Oh, we can still
where you
wait.
want email.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, we can just go on to that second link if you like.
All right.
You want to go onto that second link you sent me? I can just click on that right now and share it out. Should human evolution be questioned? Mysterious origins of man, Charlton Heston.
All right. I'll send it right after that.
Okay.
And reply.
Okay, I'll just get this started.
All right, it's in your email for one thing, and then I'll stick it over into the chat.
And that will be ready.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, that one's like 4.5 hours long. I'm uploading just the
this
section.
one's 5 minutes. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get you. So hang on, I'll get back to StreamYards and share that out. So I share that out. That's the should have human evolution. Present screen.
Show the giant scarab.
And there we go. Share. And here we go.
I was really impressed that they thought those iron balls were concretions. Like I don't know. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm going to take away from this today.
I mean, it could be like an iron. I mean, it could be just like an iron deposit, but
it could be. Yeah, I mean,
seen a
I don't know how they were found, you know. So it's odd. If they were throughout the strata in different layers and just kind of like evenly spaced, or if they were all over the place, or you know, who knows? Kind of see where they're
because it could have like, you know, it could have magnetized. Sometimes you get like magnetic.
Sure.
But if it's pure iron, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
Iron. You sound like a pirate there, Bubblegum. You said pure iron. Iron. Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
Yeah. I am looking at some. What am I looking at here? I got some Arizona green tea that I'm drinking.
Yeah, it's still got caffeine in it, just not as much. It's very low in caffeine. It still has. They say it's caffeine free, but it's not completely caffeine free.
Yeah. All the tea leaf it has that. I wanted to get a tea tree, and I never did though.
Oh
I
yeah,
should probably get one someday.
Yeah, pluck it yourself. That's a good idea. But
make your own tea.
and then you can grow it organic, and then you can just pick off the leaves so the bugs don't get the odd leaf here and there, and then you can save up your tea and make your own mad, organic tea. That would be a good idea.
And depending on what size the leaf is or how old the leaf is of the tea plant is what the different grades of tea are. So you have like your oolong and your green tea and then your black tea. And I think your black tea is like at its final stage where your tea leaf is growing and really dark, like even a really, really, really dark green. And then you have your black tea. So
that's what I want. The dark green. It's ultra old. I'll save the leaves up till they're like so old that they're turned so black that light can't even escape the leaf. Yeah.
I've got I don't know if you've ever heard of well maybe I can't even remember it. Strawberry guava. And that's kind of like a tea leaf tree too, but it grows fruit. It's like a lot of people drink the tea leaves from that. It makes like a red tea. That's really good. It tastes like strawberry guavas. I mean, I don't know if it's good for you, but it tastes good.
Yeah, I like you mean guava with a strawberry flavor because I used to have that used to be my favorite when I'd be on the way to Hawaii on a plane or from Hawaii. I'd always have the guava juice.
It is so delicious. Guava's so good.
Yeah, it is.
There's nothing like it.
Nah, there isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good drink.
I think I'm gonna hit the hay, guys. But it was good chatting with you tonight.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you. That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking, Sea Science. Much appreciated.
Maybe I get on with you tomorrow if something after the live chat.
Yeah, sure.
Should be around. I don't know if you're what you're up to. So.
Yeah, I'll be around.
All right, man.
All right.
Stay strong and God bless.
God bless.
See ya.
See you, mate. Yeah. See you.
Later, Jason.
Okay. All right. I'm just waiting for this to load. I suppose. Anyway, I am. Let me have a look. Let me just have a look. There was something that we were talking about earlier which sparked my attention, but I don't think. Let me have a look and see. It was something that I. The 3D genome structure has to do with the epigenetic modification of proteins called histones. The DNA is the study showed that a specific type of histone modification had only about a 70% overlap or similarity between humans and chimps. Remarkably, another study in 2012 showed that humans had about 70% similarity for the same feature with mice. In other words, humans were as different to mice as they were to chimps for this particular gene confirmation. Oh yeah. So that's that's pretty interesting. Like it's so they're basically saying is what when they compare the human and chimp genome, that just from like one gene that they looked at, that the human gene, when you look at the whole gene, was only 70% similar, in the same way that in mice we've got a similar the same 70% similarity in mice as well, when you take the whole gene into account, that particular gene. So what they do is, when they looked at the human genome, is they just take large sections and throw it away, anything that didn't have a certain similarity or very close similarity, and everything that was too far off got basically discarded. So they took things, they set their similarities, the minimum and maximum and stuff like that, and basically set the software to go through. Because when you look right here, you take just one gene at random and you pick it out, then it's different. It's completely, like, it's only 70% overlap in similarity. So that's taking everything into account and not discarding anything. So if you do that over the entire genome, you might get 18% similarity difference, not 99%, not 99.8% similar, which is a 0.2%, only a 0.2% difference. You get a way bigger difference than that. You get like an 80, if it's 87% similarity over the entire genome, then that would be a 13% difference. And we've got a closer similarity to mice, or a similar similarity to mice. So do we come from mice, or that sort of thing? People don't realize that about genetics and stuff. I mean, there's no point sharing that out. I mean, but it's got here. radically different from chimp. New study published in Trends and Genetics evaluates research in the emerging field that shows that the human 3D genome is distinctly unique to humans, and confirming previous research that showed it is as different compared to chimp as it is to a mouse. So basically it's what they found with just that one gene. And then when you go through it, and it says down here I better grab onto that and move it down a bit. I can share this out. Stop sharing. Yeah. There. So that's so you got this. I can go in here. And then, oops. On here. Viewing mode. All right. And then basically you got in confirmation metric. In the trends in genetic study, they found in comparing humans and chimps, only a 43% of TADs conserved, similar between these species, but across many different parameters, resolution windows, genome assembly, and a different downstream analysis decisions. No more than 78% of domains and 83% of TAD boundaries were found to be shared between humans and chimpanzees. So you got an 83%, basically 78% to 83% similarity, not a 99.8% similarity like they say. And that's when you include everything. The huge evolutionary discrepancy led them to conclude, in our mind, there is no strong basis for the common and often unchallenged notion that TADs are highly conserved. In other words, a lack of conservation means no evidence of evolution, and basically that's one of the articles that it came from, the ICR, and then underneath it we got the published peer-reviewed citation from PubMed, NCBI, NLM, NIH, and so on, like all these different ones. Conserved study report that the genome-wide overlap of the histone modification H3K4ME3 locations in humans and chimpanzees is around 70%. Remarkably, the genome-wide overlap of the histone of the H3K4ME3 locations in hang on, Doug, I'm live. Locations in okay, and remarkably in locations in human mouse with the locations in humans and mice around 70% with figures, blah blah blah. Conservation of locations in primates, and probably conclude with confidence that the H3K4ME3 locations are quite conserved between humans and mouse, a human and mouse. And initial analysis found that 43% of TADs, that's right, that's where I was up to, and chimpanzees a much lower percentage than has 83%. So you got basically 73 to 83% of domains and 83% of TAD boundaries or something, whatever. they say. So it's not when you go in and you look at the entire genome together on chimpanzees and that, we're only about, I'd say about 15%, 15 to 18, an 83% similarity, an 83 to 85 to 87% similarity, which is like about a 13% difference in humans and chimps when they take the entire human and the entire chimp genome into account. Because the chimp genome, I think, is like so many percentage points bigger, 3% bigger or 4% bigger than the human genome. So if you just take that into account alone, then you've got to take out a hell of a lot there. So a heck of a lot. So just let me have a look and see. No. Anyway, so you've basically got it's just really simple. He goes on with this article and goes on a bit, but the whole point of it is that when you really get down to it and look at the human genome and you compare the entire human genome against the entire ape genome, which is exactly what should be done, there's only about an 83% similarity, not a 99.8% similarity. Nothing like it, nowhere near it. Anyway, so basically that's it, and I'm just going to say goodbye and thank you for anybody that watches this in the future, and God bless, and I'll speak to you in my next stream, I suppose. Okay, God bless.